What's going on, guys? This is Zach, your host of the Young Lions Perspective Podcast, and you are listening to the Game Changer Podcast on Wrestle, Addict, Radio.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Please welcome Mr. Fretz.
Sorry about your damn luck.
I'm a creek swimming, moonshine sipping, deer skinning, beer drinking, Johnny Cash listening. Long necks and rednecks are my friends. Women and whiskey make a perfect blend.
Ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 5 years as a podcaster, introducing Nate the Great!
Beer, money!
He's from the country. He's from the city. Watch your money in your alcohol. 'Cause when the tide rolls out and the shit's going down, you know you're gonna take a fall. He's from the country. He's from the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, pop open a beer, get yourself a cowboy hat, and just relax in a nice little foot pool. This is the Game Changer Podcast. We're going to be celebrating a very fine individual in the world of professional wrestling. I am NateFNGreat, the champ of the camp that is Wrestle Addict Radio. I'm calling it right now, and I dare anybody to challenge me for it. And I'm here with the Prime Minister of Wrestle Addict Radio, the one, the only, Maple Leaf loving Mr. Fretz.
Hi, my name is Mr. Fretz, and I'm representing Maxwell Jacob Friedman for more elite AEW.
Jesus.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman for world champion. Thank you, and God bless. Yeah, it is me. It is me. It is me. It is Mr. Fretz. I apologize for... I am very distracted right now. There is a hockey game going on right now. The NHL are in the qualifying round of the playoffs. My beloved Toronto Maple Leafs are currently tied 3-3 with the Columbus Blue Jackets after coughing up a 3-goal lead. How Toronto of you. So I am frazzled, but I want to give some big love here, a big shout out to my cousin Rick, who came and visited today. I haven't seen him in 9 years. He's a much older cousin. He's in his late 40s. I gave him a Wrestle Addict Radio card, a little bit of info on there. So, Rick, I hope you hear this. I hope you're doing well. Much love to you, cuz. And shout out to his lovely lady, Crystal, as well. So, yeah, it's been a good day. It's been my day off. I haven't had a day off since 3 days before we recorded last week. It's, nice day. Be out on the beach. And that's, got some beer here. I just got to find my money.
And what Mr. Fretz is alluding to, and if you haven't guessed by the two theme songs that we played earlier in the show, is that we're going to be talking about the one, the only, Cowboy James Storm, who, ironically enough, does follow us on our Patreon. Not quite a backer, but James Storm, if you would please, would not mind if you showed a little bit of support, but I will also take you being a follower. Also, thank you so much for following us, because that actually means a lot. So this episode is for you, my good sir. We're doing a retrospective on James Storm, and honestly, I looked back at the Wikipedia page on his career, and it's been a very interesting kind of roller coaster of just gimmick changes and face and heel turns, a lot of tag team deals. It's just one of those careers that is just very, very decorated. I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, he's had a cool one, and I haven't watched very much James Storm. You're going to be taking a lot of the reins on this, Nate. I've followed him until about, I think, just before he formed Beer Money. So I was watching some stuff, and I'm like, okay, let's get some James Storm matches, some of which we're going to talk about soon. But he was in WCW right at the tail end. I watched a match with him and two other jobbers get beat by 3 count, and James Storm ate the pin with this wheelbarrow into a double facebuster, like a triple facebuster move. It looked stiff, and James was very young, didn't have his beard, didn't have his beer yet, but yeah, something I didn't know. I even have his wiki page in front of me here, and it just reminds me, he was there right at the end, and when WCW got bought, well, James Storm went to some indies before TNA.
That's right, and that's where we're going to start off with his career. He started off in June 1st, 2002, wrestling against somebody who he's going to be teaming up with quite a bit in the future, that being Mr. Chris Harris, and some people might know him better as the legend known as Braden Walker. Yes, that guy.
I'm going to knock your lights out for referencing that.
Well, you mean to tell me that you do not like the legendary career of Braden Walker in ECW?
You mean the one match he had with, like, Armando Estrada?
That's right. He only had, like... He was there for, like, a blink of an eye, and then he was gone.
He disappeared not as fast as Fantasio. Google that, kids. But he was there about as long as Frankie Kazarian was in the WWE. Like, seriously, Frankie was on, like, 4 episodes of Velocity, wrestling, like, Paul London and Jimmy Yang. And then he was just gone. Look it up, seriously.
No, I believe that, because I do remember that. I remember when I watched a bit of Velocity where London fought off against Nunzio for the Cruiserweight title, and he ended up losing, and then the following week he lost to Kazarian, and London was doing this deal where he's like, I lost the match, I got screwed, and he made it seem like he was being sympathetic to people, being like, we got screwed. It's like, looking back, I'm like, geez, London, who the hell are you trying to impress right now? I mean,
he was trying to do like this this campaign. It was like he was going to do like a marching protest campaign to Titan Towers about being screwed. I would have went right there with him, because I was a Paul London mark since day one, and I was disappointed when, oh my God, they almost scored. When he lost that title to Nunzio, really? No offense to him, but
to little Guido, no. To get back on track, it wasn't really too long after when they wrestled against each other that they would actually be paired up and dub themselves as America's Most Wanted. And according to James Storm, the name is in reference to his little trouble with the law. And one of the things that I really enjoy is this tag team. Honestly, I would put America's Most Wanted as one of the top 5 best tag teams in TNA's history. These guys put on so many absolutely crazy matches, whether it was against Team 3D, the 3 Live Crew, the Naturals, or probably one of their biggest, one of their biggest rivals was Triple X, Mr. Fretz. I believe that you have a matchup that people should definitely look into when it comes to that rivalry.
You know it. This is Turning Point 2005, I believe. It was a tag team 6 sides of steel cage match in which the loser would have to break up forever. Spoiler alert, the losers didn't break up forever. If you want to hear about that, go to my Fave 5 Ultimate X reviews on the Patreon feed. This is infamous for basically one spot, but the whole match was vicious. It was bloody. It had so many great spots. Elix Skipper, prime time, baby. Prime time, doing that tightrope walk, Hurricane Rana on the top of the cage to Chris Harris. Oh my gosh. And the fact that AMW won the match by pressing A and B and No Mercy and using the Powerplex from Triple X just rubbed salt right in the wound there. And that is you can go, it's on YouTube. The full thing's on YouTube right now. Highly recommend. You can press pause right now on this. Come back to us after. tweet us at the legendary JF and VLFNGame and being like, holy crap, guys, that was awesome. I was avidly watching TNA at this point, so it brought me back. And Don West, I miss his commentary. My gosh.
Don West is amazing. He's going to have to be a future retro episode that we'll have to do for a future episode here on the Game Changer podcast. But the America's Most Wanted, Wildcat Chris Harris and Cowboy James Storm, these two guys would be huge in the tag team division, winning the NWA World Tag Team titles, because back in the day, it was NWA TNA before they would go on to just be in TNA, but still keeping the NWA titles until about 2006, 2007 time, because then they would start getting their own titles. They would win the NWA Tag Team titles collectively 6 times, but you could also combine their random tag team pairings that they had. I think it was Storm and Daniels and Skipper and Harris, if I'm not mistaken, for a 7th reign. It was one of those really weird kind of tag team, which kind of ties in a little bit to their rivalry, but it's kind of one of those things where it got confused. It was one of those things where I'm like, I don't understand this really weird thing here. But anyway, one of the best tag team matches that I can recall from America's Most Wanted was back when I was watching it in 2006. And the duo of AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. These guys just barely started teaming up together. They challenged AMW for the tag team titles on 3 different occasions. And it was on the 3rd occasion where it was basically all or nothing. They either would win the tag team titles or they would leave away the matchup with nothing at that year's Slammiversary. And by God, that matchup was just intense. It was emotional. It was just everything that you would love about that. Definitely check out that matchup for like some of the best AMW work, because Styles, Daniels, Wildcat, and Cowboy, they just laid it all on the line, and they put on one hell of a clinic between the two of them. It's a good matchup.
Yeah, I remember that one too. I don't know if that was in my Ultimate X thing or not, but Styles and Daniels were. And that's a tag team that doesn't get a lot of love or attention because, well, nowadays, Christopher Daniels is, 1/3 of SCU, and AJ Styles being former Bullet Club. It's something you forget about once you go back and look into the history. And if you want an oddball tag team, I think it was only one time, but on like a random episode of TNA, like the weekly pay-per-view, James Storm tagged with Psychosis, of all people. It just a thrown-together match like TNA used to do. You'd get Kizarny and Brian Lee, a.k.a. Underfaker, going up against, Lance Archer and Kazarian or something. You'd get wacky ones like that because they wanted to showcase their roster or who happened to be in town. And yeah, Jay Storm that was a great one. This was after their heel run, I'm reading here. They helped Jeff Jarrett beat Raven for the NWA title, went on to join Jarrett's army. And they got a manager in the process. One Gail Kim.
She completed that faction. She was definitely one of the key components to AMW's success. She was one of the few people that would just go in there and she would just mess with the other boys. I still remember when she did that head scissors to AJ Styles during one of the matches. It was again, Gail Kim is one of the reasons why I loved women's wrestling again. And I got the chance to meet her twice. She's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, married to Chef Robert Irvin, is that right?
That is correct.
I love some Robert. I'm a sucker for Food Network. If the Leafs game wasn't on, I'd have Food Network on mute right now. And wait a minute, I bet you Robert Irvin's on there right now. Let's see. That's a commercial. I'll keep you posted. Yeah, and you could tell how dated this reference was. The crowd would often chant Brookback Mountain at this team. You're down south, bunch of rednecks. You're gonna get homophobic chants. Not justifying it. I'm just stating the fact that it happened, and No, I mean, come on. But yeah, we are leading into. We'll probably get into it here, but we have a feud with LAX, and I think going towards the for me, I mean the breakup. There's a match in there that I just remember now that we can talk about.
Yeah. So during this feud with LAX, it was a flag versus flag match, and then there was a tag team title match where basically if AMW didn't win, they would basically disband. In that matchup, James Storm would turn on Harris and literally, I think temporarily blinding Harris's right eye by hitting him in the face with a beer bottle, in which Storm would start getting his solo career. But before he really gets too deep into that, he does have to face off against a demon known as the Wildcat Chris Harris in one of the most brutal matches that you could possibly imagine. I mean, my God, these two literally tried to kill each other in this matchup. I'm, of course, talking about the match at Sacrifice 2007, Storm versus Harris in a Texas death match.
That was a great match. I meant to bring up the one before that, and yes, Robert Irvin is on my TV right now, whatever that show is. The blindfold match from Lockdown. Now, it's a little infamous for all the wrong reasons, and if you are a fan and viewer of OSW Review, like I am, you'll know why. It wasn't good. This death match, I think I've seen it, but it's leaps and bounds better than Lockdown, but it's like the masks wouldn't work. They couldn't tie up, and Storm, he even kind of cheated a little bit, and when the ref wasn't looking, he just, lift open the mask just a little bit, and last call, and that was that. But they had a hell of a feud. I loved AMW. I was shocked to see them break up. I thought they'd be like, insert tag team here that were together forever. Legion of Doom, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. I thought they went up there. Until I saw James Storm go single here and bring in Jacqueline as a manager, that I really saw his potential and thought, okay, this is a good move. This guy's friggin' great. And he had, that year, he had a good run as a singles, having, a barroom brawl, having matches against Rhino. There was a match, I can't remember what the gimmick was, but he had a really, Elevation X. The Ultimate X, but it's a scaffold match. Dangerous. Just ask Jim Cornette about the time he blew both of his knees out. And yeah, that was just wacky. And I think Rhino won both of them. He wrestled AJ in one, and he wrestled James Storm in the other. Why?
Yeah. It's a matchup that just it feels like one of those things where it's kind of a wonky kind of a matchup, but it's also one of those things that kind of brings up the fear factor in there. So it's kind of one of the reasons why. But I want to also say that during the singles run that he had, probably one of the funniest instances, and it definitely showed that Cowboy James Storm could be very highly entertaining. And that was his mini feud with Eric Young over the World Beer Drinking Championship.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's literally a championship that was the WWE spinner title, but they just put a beer bottle on the championship. I mean, it's one of those things where it's you can't cover that so much. But it's just kind of one of those things where you just see them doing a never have I ever deal, and James Storm was like, oh yeah, I wrestled a bear. Oh yeah, I've done that. Eric Young is just buying into all that crap. Then there's a deal where it's you drink until you piss. James Storm pissed his pants. The one few time where it's wow, somehow pissing his pants actually made him still cool, unlike what they did with Drake Maverick. Shout out to Drake Maverick, you're amazing. Also, we need Spud back. I'm just saying.
Next Cruiserweight champion, I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. Oh, man, that's a nice fight. That's not the Leafs game. But, yeah, of course a Canadian would come in and being like, yeah, I can drink more beer than you. Me being one, I'm not sure I could drink Tennessee or Texas under the table, but I'll challenge Wisconsin to a beer match. Why not? Bring it, Nate.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Another really funny moment was when they're doing this. What is it? A Deuces Wild tournament, because there was this controversy that went on during a tag team title matchup where it was Tom Cohen Styles. They lost their titles to Kaz and Super Eric, but all the people in the ring except for Kaz was just like, oh, that's not Eric Young, that's just a random dude. He's not legal in the matchup. I will say this also calls for Eric Young getting a retro deal on a feature episode, because Super Eric stuff, oh my god, this was the stuff of just genius. But James Storm would be part of what is known as the Egotistical 8, in which it's basically 8 singles competitors being randomly paired up with other people in that bracket, and they would all compete against 4 tag teams. The winning deal of the tournament would be the TNA World Tag Team titles, which was eventually won by LAX. But during this deal, it was kind of interesting because they had, I'm trying to remember correctly about the names here, there was Sting, Booker T, James Storm, Bobby Roode, I'm trying to think, Kip James, BG James, Matt Morgan, and then the big surprise in the final Egotistical 8 member was the TNA Knockouts champion at the time, Awesome Kong. And just the moment where Awesome Kong just is up the rampway, she's staring everybody down, and just the face that James Storm is making, he's literally got a beer in his hand, he's just like, oh damn, I don't want her as a partner or as an opponent. It's just one of those things where it's like, just that priceless reaction there, it's just great. Again, it's just during a singles run is where we're slowly seeing James Storm just really coming into the fold. And it's not until we reach 2008 and into the year of 2011 that we would see James Storm hitting quite possibly one of his best years of wrestling. And that was teaming up with a Canadian, Bobby Roode, to form Beer Money Incorporated.
Yeah, this is about where I temporarily tapered off from Impact, Nate, so I'll apologize if I can't speak too much of Beer Money's run, so I can let you take the reins here. I could speak to a little bit when we get to his very brief run in NXT and a little bit of NWA Power.
All right, that's fair. So during this time, you had James Storm and Bobby Roode teaming up, and they're doing this deal where it's about their money, it's about the drinking. It's just an absolutely phenomenal teaming, but it seemed like a very unlikely teaming to start. In the end, though, Beer Money would be one of the most dominant and most decorated tag teams in all of TNA. The multiple tag team title runs that they had, the feuds that they had with Team 3D, with LAX, with Lethal Consequences Created, and Jay Lethal, just fill in the blank of people that James Storm had in here, and you just see like magic with every single one of them. But their best pairing, in my honest opinion, was them teaming up against the Motor City Machine Guns. And what can I say about that? Best of 5 series. The best way that you can get a best of 5 series going off is just watching that matchup. You had them fight a regulars match, a ladder match, a street fight. They fought up in just every single day, a 6-sided steel matchup. And then the final fall was a 2 out of 3 falls matchup. They just absolutely just destroyed each other. But it was absolutely phenomenal. And it definitely showed the decoration of the tag team division. It was absolutely great. You see them, battling against Team 3D. They're just taking on everybody. It's just phenomenal seeing how they do that. They had this brief, brief heel run with AJ Styles as well as Desmond Wolfe. I think he got later replaced by Kazarian. be better known as Fortune, which was basically the knockoff version of the Four Horsemen, which in all honesty, it was a good run. They had some, bright moments here and there. You can definitely say that the deal where they pulled like the they deal, they're coming, it seems like it's going to be the main event Mafia. Nope, Immortal, it's your own boys, Fortune. They're going to beat the shit out of you. And yeah, they would just continue to, rack up tag team victories. Although I will say another really funny moment with Beer Money involved a unlikely pairing of Jeff Hardy and Mr. Anderson. They would go on to face off against Beer Money at Slammiversary, and just the hilarity of Mr. Anderson just making jokes about Beer Money, and even the tag team of Mr. Anderson and Jeff Hardy, the enigmatic assholes. Just it was great. I will say this. It's just really funny just hearing them coming up with names like the assholes of the night, creatures of the assholes. No, just what the fuck. Then we see them just
the whole of the ass.
Oh my god! I think it's funny when they're just talking about Beer Money. Mr. Anderson, he just looks at Bobby Roode and he's like, "Just a question for you. Why is your hair always wet? I mean, did you just get out of the shower or something, or just?" I mean, you there. I know that you like to wear glasses indoors, but there's only two people that like to wear them. That is blind people and jack-offs. and James Storm would just be like, "Oh, really? I got a funny punchline right here." Just starts boiling away on him just because James Storm's awesome. So we would get a little more deep into this, and again, they would be a great tag team for 3 years. Just doing everything that they can to just showcase their absolute amazing talent. But there is one fateful night that changes everything here. And that is, unfortunately, in 2011, where at Bound for Glory that year, Bobby Roode was the Bound for Glory Series winner. He would face off against Kurt Angle for the TNA title. Kurt Angle would retain the title in a controversial fashion. And Bobby Roode's basically stating the fact that he got screwed. He wants a rematch. Everybody's behind it. But then Kurt Angle's like, no. You can't do it because in my contract it says that you can't face me for the world title anymore. You're one and done. James Storm was like, all right. Is there anything in that contract that says anything about giving me a shot? So James Storm would get a title shot against Kurt Angle. And in that night, we would see James Storm beat Kurt Angle to become the new TNA heavyweight champion. People were just absolutely enthralled. They were shocked. They were just absolutely excited to see where this was going to go for James Storm. He was a TNA original. He's one of those guys that just was homegrown. Absolutely great. 8 days later, we see him versus Bobby Roode because it's going to be like a battle of the Brotherhood. This is the night where everything changed. Bobby Roode took one of James Storm's beer bottles, bashed it over the head of James Storm while the referee was down, covers him 1, 2, 3. Bobby Roode would become the new TNA heavyweight champion. We would get this long, illustrious reign of Bobby Roode as champion, which I still believe is the longest reign in TNA history. And eventually Bobby Roode and James Storm would clash against each other, but they would be fighting off in a steel cage match where James Storm would unfortunately lose because he super kicked Bobby Roode out of the cage. Kind of a weak finish, but at the same time, as well as things like, oof. Basically, James Storm's, eagerness to destroy Bobby Roode got the better of him. Storm would kind of go back and forth inside and outside the crowd, but he would still kind of just have this this feel about him that really made him just absolutely phenomenal. He would end Crimson's undefeated streak at Slammiversary. I'm trying to think if there's any other major things here, because he's kind of just going hip hopping everywhere. It's not until Gunner and Storms. Oh, geez, Louise. Gunner and James Storm. This is a very interesting deal because we would see James Storm kind of go into a very dark path here. Jeez Louise. So, James Storm and Gunner won a tag team title matchup at a Slammiversary. They would hold the tag team titles until Bound for Glory, until when they lost against the Bromans, that being Robbie E. and Jesse Goddard.
Yeah.
That was a thing, yes, it was. So we would see...
Sorry. Hockey's my first love, Nate.
I know. So, Gunner and Storm would compete in the Feast or Fire deal, which is basically kind of still an interesting thing I love about TNA, where you would have 4 briefcases, 3 of which contained title shots, 1 of which contained a pink slip. And when this happened, Gunner was able to get a briefcase that contained the TNA World Heavyweight title match. Later on, he would win the tag team title matchup from EC3 in, I think it was just a ladder match, if I'm not mistaken. So, Gunner basically has the TNA World title matchup, and he passes the tag team title match to James Storm, bear in mind, because this is going to come into a factor later on. Storm would cost Gunner the TNA Heavyweight title match that he cashed in on TNA champion Magnus at the time. Basically, he would turn heel, and I really kind of liked how he turned heel here. He literally says that, don't you know who I am? I'm the Cowboy. I'm a former TNA champion. And literally, you're just giving me a tag team title shot as like, basically, like he's giving him scraps. It was kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, this is kind of a heel turn I can justify. I can understand this. So he and Gunner would have a couple of matches, one of which was a steel cage last man standing match and an I Quit match, both of which were won by Gunner. But he would continue to get a little bit of a darker path, and a lot of people might remember the Cut You Down theme song that he had. It was very dark for him, very different from him, because he was still kind of walking around with the beard, but he definitely kind of had almost this weird cult leader like persona to him. He would have this deal where he's basically recruiting people. He recruits Sonata when he was at TNA, and he would
that Sonata as an evil in Sonata.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Sonata was X Division champion for a while. It was like, I can't remember who he was feuding against. I know that they had like him and one other guy like feuding for like weeks and weeks, and then basically James Storm brainwashed Sonata to attack the Great Muta when he came down, and James Storm would just start doing this process with another person. A lot of people might remember Manic, a.k.a. TJP.
Yes!
He would then start to cash in his tag team title shot that some people forgot about. I even forgot about this. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. He had this briefcase for a while. So he would cash in his shot on the Wolves, but it would not be with Sonata. It would not be with TJP. It would be with Abyss. And he would win the tag team titles with him, only to lose them about a month later, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. It was weird. But this was just one of those things where he started having this situation, then he would go on to have a feud with, I think I'm trying to remember where it was. Oh, yeah, that's right. He actually did have a feud with Magnus, because they actually brought in Serena Deeb. A lot of people might remember her from the Straight Edge Society. It was a mixed tag team match. It was her and James Storm against real life married couple Magnus and Mickie James, which was an interesting deal, but at the same time, as well as things were like, this is really necessary. He had a feud with Muhammad Shira. It's kind of one of those things where like his run in, like his final bits and pieces runs in TNA were kind of like really on and off kind of deal. But yeah, once we hit the year 2015, this is where we get a bit of a shock, because he would enter into the realm of World Wrestling Entertainment.
He did, but before that, I was reminded that Beer Money went to New Japan for a little bit, for a couple of matches. They defeated Akira and Masahiro Chono, wow, and then had a match with Carl Anderson and Giant Bernard, a.k.a. Nate. Do you know who he is?
Would that be Matt Bloom?
That would be A-Train himself, yes. Yeah, Anderson and Bernard. Yeah, Bernard also tagged with Tomko in Japan. They had a match with Naito and Takahashi. My God, I want to see that. But yes, James Storm came into a surprise event visit to Full Sail University on October 21st, taped on October 8th, defeating Danny Burch with the 8-second ride. And Danny Burch comes to the ring, and you just hear this, just like this weird like country rock music, and everyone's just like, what? And then the crowd, like, James Storm walks out, and everyone's just, you can see this one kid like, it's like,
I remember
he had
that.
to be like maybe 13, 14 years old. And he was marking out like I would if I heard the glass shatter at an event. And yeah, he only had, I have here, 2 matches. He defeated Danny Burch at one, and on another one in December, he defeated Adam Rose. And then I have here, he returned to Impact in 2016, but I came back to TNA around late 17, early 18, so I can let you, if you want to cover the Beer Money reunion, by all means, my friend.
Yeah, so a little bit into this was that they just decided to get the band back together, and they had Bobby Roode, he's fighting off against Eric Young and Bram. Yep, that was a thing. Oh my gosh. James Storm is basically comes in, saves him, and it's just like, let's get back to having fun. They drink a beer, and literally they decide, hey, Beer Money is back. So they end up getting the TNA World Tag Team title shot, Feast or Fired, where they would eventually win the tag team titles. They would go on to have those titles until, unfortunately losing to a match against Decay. One of my favorite tag teams, I'm not going to lie, just Rosemary, Crazy Steve, Abyss. Just great. If you guys have not seen Great War, go see it. It's a masterpiece. I'm not going to lie. But unfortunately, they would not end up getting a rematch because Bobby Roode will go into the greener pastures of becoming glorious. I don't know what that means. So James Storm would go on to just having a bit of an interesting singles run for a while against, he took on Braxton Sutter. He would also have a matchup against King of the Mountain champion at the time, Eli Drake, before eventually dropping it to Mr. I want to hold every championship. Which, in all honesty, I'm going to tell you guys this. If you have not gotten a chance to see it, go check out Adam Blampier's Parts Fun Known booking of how Bobby Lashley should have been booked in WWE. It's absolutely amazing. He basically, because literally how he describes the Lashley title win in TNA is literally he just absorbs every championship, and then one night he's literally just like, don't want that, I'll keep this one, fuck this one. Literally just, that is how it was. Lashley was just like, I'm just keeping the world title, everything else, nope, because I don't like you guys. In all honesty, I like that Lashley. I think that might be my favorite Lashley, in all honesty. Even though that's one of those things like, but it's demeaning to the titles. Yeah, but he made it look good and it helped him as a heel. Point taken. So then we would get a very interesting interesting trio in James Storm, Bram, and Eddie Kingston, or as they call it, the Death Crew Council, the DCC. Honestly, what can I say about this team up is very forgettable. I'm not going to lie. This is just one of those things where it started off kind of interesting, like it was a bit of a purge deal, but then it was a situation where it just did not make sense. And then there was a situation where they were all acting like they were like mimes or something. Like, it's just a weird deal. This is one of those things where it just makes me sad. It's one of those things. It's just one of those things like you have, James Storm, who is just very talented. You have Eddie Kingston, who is just absolutely great in the ring, and then you have that guy, the former Mrs. Flair. I'm sorry, Mr. Flair, but anybody who decides to hit a woman does not have any balls. I'm just saying that right now. So anyway, that's a story for another time. James Storm would then go on to just having a bit of a final feud with just a couple other people. He would actually have a feud with EC3, but then he would go on to fight off against Lashley in what would be his final days in TNA, basically. He would go on to have a feud with, what was the dude's name? Dan Lambert. Oh, jeez Louise. This just hurts. But I guess I got no choice what to talk about. So, literally it's a situation where Dan Lambert, the guy who doesn't even have probably like an ounce of wrestling in his entire bones, or somebody's going to fight me on that, I just know it. But it was just an American top team deal with Lashley, and a situation where it seems like where James Storm is going to get an opportunity at the title, but he's got to go against Dan Lambert, and if he loses to Dan, he's gone. Well, guess what happens, ladies and gentlemen? This is the final days of James Storm. He loses to Dan Lambert, and he's out of TNA. Quite the interesting way to leave for Mr. Cowboy. James, I'm just saying this. There could have been something better, because Dan Lambert was not one of those guys who was going to be there for long. Honestly, if it was a situation where they could have done like Lashley versus James Storm as the final match, I'd be okay with that. But Dan Lambert, of all people, just why? Just no. I wouldn't even. Exactly. It's just one of those things where it's like he fell off the face of the earth. Nobody really knows. Nobody really cares. But in all honesty, his whole run in TNA was very memorable. It was very good. And, his last final days in TNA were just... I really wish that they could have done more with him. But at the same time, he was there to make talent. He made EC3. He made other people. He made Lashley. So James Storm is definitely one of those guys who, if you need a great matchup, he definitely is one of those guys that would really create something special. But we're not quite done with his career yet, because later on he would this is actually kind of cool. He actually faced off against current NXT champion Keith Lee.
I was just going to say that.
in the Pro Wrestling World Cup USA first round. He would not become out victorious, but Keith Lee versus James Storm, ooh, sign me up for that.
Oh, absolutely. I might just hunt this down on YouTube. This has to exist somewhere. Yeah, this was in some of the independent promotions like ICW. He had some matches there, and a little bit later on, I guess we'll get to it here, NWA Power.
And this is where you take over.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch all of Power because it was on Tuesday nights. I used to have an overnight shift on Tuesday, as you probably know. But Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins, Homer Simpson, Smiling Politely. You get that reference? I love you for life. We have here... He comes in, James Storm comes in here and challenge. I think he had a match against Nick Aldis. That's Magnus, right?
That's correct.
That is Magnus. Okay, that's what I thought. Storm also had like a brief run with ROH, if I'm not mistaken, and there was this spot here where there was a match where Colt Cabana defeated former X Division champion Willie Mack to win. I think it's like the national heavyweight championship, and we have to. It had something to do with, like, there was an ROH television title program here as well. And I think Storm won that title, unless it was the other NWA title. I can't remember. This page isn't very, very clear. But anyways, he had some matches with, like, people like Colt Cabana, and I think probably even Damian Sandow on there. And I forgot, NWA had a Hard Times pay-per-view this week where him and Eli Drake would win the NWA Tag Team Championship. Once again, putting his name on that very title. Dummies, yeah. I love me some Eli Drake. That guy is hilarious. His Impact run, I caught a little bit of, and there was this. I don't think he was the champion, but he had a title in Impact, and he had this open challenge. And frigging Ellsworth answers the challenge.
Right. I forgot about that.
It was like Bound for Glory. I think it was in friggin' Toronto a couple of years ago.
Oh, jeez.
Man, my buddy Shay went to that. Hi, Shay. I'm killing myself for not going to that one, because I think that might have been the same night as the Concrete Jungle match with LAX and the OG LAX. Oh my gosh. And now that Eddie Kingston's in Impact. Oh, do something with Proud and Powerful, please. Please. Yeah, Storm, I think, with Power, I think might be resuming soon. COVID be damned. Contrary to some of the rumors that have been going out on the Dirty Dirt sheets, NWA is not going anywhere. Power, I love it. It's this old school aesthetic that is just in an old school NWA episode, or like USWA TV, Stampede. It's what's it called? Studio wrestling, and I love it. James Storm is just that veteran presence. He's been around the game for over 20 years now. He's got a great mind for the business. He's not above making himself laugh and making you laugh, as the beer drinking thing. That's such a Canadian. He's like as southern gets, but that's such a Canadian thing to do, or a southern Ontario or a Grey Bruce County thing to do. I love me some James Storm. I'm disappointed his NXT reign was very, very short-lived, but maybe he just wanted to stop there and shake off a bit of the ring rust. He didn't sign a contract, but there was this storyline where William Regal, it's like, William Regal's been scouting the land here for some talent, and look, it's Cowboy James Storm. And you would eventually get some other, and I think some other people might have had a quick stop in NXT, but I can't remember. It just reminds me of Kushida's signing, but he's in the Triple Threat next week for a North American shot. So that's what I was thinking of earlier. Awesome.
Kushida.
James Storm, Cowboy. If you're hearing this, this is where I would crack open another beer, but I've already had a couple today. To give you a cheers. So here's a cheers with my empty beer can, brother.
Now I just want a beer drinking contest. Bring back the World Beer Drinking Championship. Bring that back. I want to.
Wrestle Addict Radio Beer Challenge.
Hey! Oh my gosh, that'd be absolutely amazing. So, yes. I definitely will agree with a lot of things that Fretz has said, and I will definitely say James Storm is one of the most decorated guys in wrestling. You look at everything that he's accomplished in TNA, some people are going to say, well, he's just a TNA guy. No, he was one of the TNA guys. If there's like a Mount Rushmore, James Storm would definitely be on there. He would be one of those guys who was there to build the tag team division. He was there to create new stars. He was there to just absolutely find a way to just create all of these absolutely fantastic moments in wrestling. So, James Storm, we thank you. Looking forward to seeing what happens to you later on in your years. I will say this. I was very fortunate to at least met him once. He's a really cool, down-to-earth guy. He is definitely one of those guys I want to meet up again, and definitely, if we get a chance, maybe have a beer with him. Just saying. So, guys, we're going to take a little quick commercial break, and when we come back, probably just some more nonsense, because we're two dudes that are in our 30s, and we like to talk nonsense about wrestling. Trust me, it's what we do. So, stay tuned. We will be right back.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Queen Bee, the HBIC of Wrestle Addict Radio, the Kate Murphy. Why do fools fall in love? Should I change my Tinder bio? These questions and more will all be answered on our new Patreon-exclusive show, Love and War. Watch me and King Ricky Rose tackle the questions and struggles of finding love as a wrestling fan. Love is a battlefield, and this is Love and War, exclusively on the Wrestle Addict Radio Patreon.
Let's face it, folks, I can be in some better shape, and this year, I'm going to make a commitment to it. My name is King Ricky Rose, General Manager of Wrestle Addict Radio, and I want you guys to join our Patreon and follow me and my fellow constituents on our journey into better mental and, more importantly, better physical health. Join us in our journey to get back into ring shape, where each episode we will tell you about our progress on the matter and what a ring shape really means to us. So join patreon.com/Wrestle Addict Radio, click subscribe, and just for $5 a month, you can follow our journey as we get back into ring shape. Now enjoy the rest of your show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Game Changer Podcast. I'm NateFNGreat, joined here by Mr. Fretz. Guys, honestly, it's going to be a crazy month here in August. We already have so many things that are going on. AEW, NXT, everything is just picking up steam. I definitely do want to talk a little bit about some WWE stuff. First of all, Raw Underground. Mr. Fretz, what the absolute hell is this?
This was... okay, first off, I loved it. I was taken aback at first, but after just watching some of it, it was Fight Club. It looked like Fight Club. You had a ring seemingly underneath the Performance Center with no ropes. People in there like friggin' Dio Madden, where have you been? Oh my God, Baba Tunde, or as he's known as like Kappa something. Baba Tunde, who was in like the Greatest Royal Rumble. He was in Evolve. I think he was booked on the Evolve show that was on the network. And now that WWE, owns Evolve, or their library at least, I want to see some Evolve shit on the network, seriously, because from what I've seen, it's awesome. And hearing all about, some of our fam being at the shows, all right. But yeah, Raw Underground, Shane McMahon, it was Shane McMahon, there were these random strippers. I'm like, okay. Then there's dudes fighting in the ring, just shoot style, right? Baba Tunde just smacking these people. Dolph Ziggler in there showcasing his actual amateur wrestling, which was badass. It made him look credible. Get Brock Lesnar in there. Get Matt Riddle in there. Seriously. He was in there. I was going to say, get Shelton Benjamin in there. Oh, wait. Hurtin' Business came in down there. And they made Hurtin' Business good. Hurtin' Business is her... Shit, let me try this again. Hurtin' Business is business. And business is good. Say that 3 times fast after you have 3 beers. My God. Bobby Lashley in there just KOing people. Where was this booking for the past 2 years? He just comes in, just cold cocks this guy, chokes out this other guy. MVP kills this other dude. And we see this random faction named Retribution, with Molotov cocktails. Like, we wanted something different. We got it. Oh, but not that. Wrestling fans are hard to please. I was having a great time. Underground. I did get some vibes of, like, this is on, like, not a lot of people agree with this, but, like, I did get some Brawl for All vibes. You know, someone sent out a picture of na-na-na, na-na-na, na-na-na theme, and then I imagine myself singing, this here is what was called domination, Ezekiel Jackson.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and it looked like something, holy shit, he's lost. Fucking Columbus. Yeah, one more loss and the Leafs are done. Anyways, we're underground.
Oh my gosh, this is the greatest time to actually record, is during a Maple Leafs game.
Yeah, because they'll break my heart again and again. Oh my! So we have here. This is something I want to see more of, is Raw Underground, and yeah, I want to see more people in this. I mean, okay, we've seen the Hurtin' business. They have some credentials. Babatunde, total badass. Shane McMahon just has beat red, coked out ideas that he wanted to buy, like Bellator or an MMA company way back in the day. So he's kind of getting his wish. Maybe the random strippers, I'm like, okay, yeah, Shane McMahon is Tyler Durden all of a sudden, and this faction is causing all this shit to happen, like. The power's going out, the microphone's flickering, there's technical difficulties. Yeah, there was some severe weather in Florida. Oh, of course it's going to cause things to happen. No, it's these little shit disturbers throwing Molotov cocktails at Transformers, and Shane McMahon has a fight club. Okay, I'm hooked.
Wrestling.
I want to see more. Shane, you have my attention. SmackDown, if I can just go to The Fiend.
I like this.
Who saw that coming?
I did not, and I loved it.
Bayley had a match with Nikki. Nikki's frustrated, kind of like, no, I don't want, like, it's like, you're trying to console your friend, but they don't want a hug right now. They want their space. Okay, shove. Oh, there's still 5 minutes to go on the show, huh? Okay. Boom. Red lights. No. They're not. There's the Fiend. Slowly, the Hurt Glove, and just Mandible Claw gives it to her. What? You're hooking me again, Vince. Okay, I'm loving this. SummerSlam's gonna be fantastic, and I haven't even started about NXT TakeOver or friggin' Zack Ryder on All Elite. What the hell, wrestling? Wow.
It's just an absolutely wonderful time for wrestling. It started to pick up again, and one of the things that I definitely am looking forward to doing is definitely going to be chit-chatting with the fans about SmackDown, because starting next week I should be able to cover SmackDown. So for those of you guys that love talking about the SmackDown and laying it on all of them candy asses, definitely check me out, because I will be there on the Wrestle radio feed. It's going to be a fun time. And I will say this, that another thing that was kind of interesting about it was the whole thing with Mandy and Sonya, where Sonya is just beating the ever-living piss out of Mandy, and then she basically just snipping at Mandy's hair. It's like, what? So she's pulling a bit of a crazy gimmick. Okay. Some people have said that she's basically acting like Victoria. When was that ever a bad thing? Point proven. So
she ain't the lady to mess with.
She is not. Honestly, if she comes out with that theme music, I am literally going to lose my mind. It just comes out to that. It's like, just as long as she doesn't come out doing the booty dance, then it's fine. Yeah, it's just really crazy seeing everything that's going on here. Jeez Louise. You mentioned, of course, Matt Cardona joining All Elite Wrestling. That was great. Just everything that's going on with, oh gosh, we got Jericho and freaking Orange Cassidy in a rematch. That's going to be awesome. I literally just said, like, we need like a best of 5 series between these two. Just give us that. That's all I care about. MJF.
We need a best of 5 debate with Eric Bischoff.
Just absolutely insane deals going on with MJF, where he's basically going on this political campaign. EC3 did it better. He also had a barbershop quintet. Beat that bitch. Just saying. And I am going to say this, that it feels right for MJF to win the world title. He definitely has earned it. He deserves it. And to be quite honest, I think a lot of people are going to be very happy, especially a lot of our comrades, because they have been complaining a lot about the fact that they've been focusing more on WWE grown talent. If they have an AEW like grown talent win that heavyweight title, it's going to legitimize that title. It's going to make it even that much more prestigious. And also, MJF will continue to be undefeated for a little over a year. Some people say, but he's lost in tag team matches. Has he ever been pinned? No. Has he ever submitted? No. He's undefeated. Shut up.
It's like Kurt Angle's undefeated streak. Kurt Angle was undefeated for a few months, and he lost tag team matches and was not pinned in them. He was not pinned until The Rock pinned him just before WrestleMania 2000. So there we go. And MJF winning the title would just make me so happy. I've been a fan of his since he had a little run-in with the lead singer of Wheatus at a Joey Janela's Lost in New York event 2 years ago. I still remember this because I found the videos that Dusty Dave and Ant sent from them being at the show singing Teenage Dirtbag at the top of their lungs. Shout out to Spider Nate Webb for his entrance there, and for the friggin' singer of Wheatus giving MJF a DDT on a chair.
Oh gosh,
it was phenomenal. John Moxley, that promo that he cut on Darby, this is going to mark my words. Darby Allin is going to defeat John Moxley for a title someday. Like, maybe not the world title, maybe the TNT title. This is a relationship and a feud I want to see years in the making. Moxley being in his late 30s, maybe this can be like a passing of the torch moment with young Darby, who I think is 27, 28. I want Darby to be a secret character in Tony Hawk, but when he told that part when he's like, okay, when I tell you to stay down, you stay down. And what does he do? Moxley has him in a sleeper hold, gives him the double bird, gives him the cradle pile, the gotch pile driver. Minoru Suzuki perks up in Japan oh, you still have my title, bitch. And then with the elevated rider, he just loves that kid so much, and seeing that relationship play off in the ring after he pinned him, kind of, giving him a little hug there, just warmed my cold heart. I want more of this match. Give them the Cracker Barrel, give them the Cracker Barrel Clash. That's what I want to see.
Ooh. Oh man, another Cracker Barrel brawl, but there would be an amazing stipulation for them. Just as long as Darby Allin doesn't go through another Cracker Barrel, because that spot was scary, and it was one of those things where it's just Darby, we want you to have more years in the ring. We don't want you to have this, spinal stenosis or something like that at the age that you're at. It just no, just no more, please. Darby, love you, dude, but at the same time, take a little bit of care of yourself. But then again, he's a professional. What do I know?
Yeah, remember my feelings towards the coffin drop? Point taken.
Right. So, some other things that definitely have been going on over the past few weeks. One that we definitely do want to plug, because we were kind of shocked to hear this deal, is that Rant is coming back, but not in the way that we thought it would be. It's going to be coming back as the Rant Foundation. Mr. Anthony DiStefano has apparently decided to come out of retirement from talking about wrestling, and he is going to talk about wrestling again. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's good to have you back, Ant.
Man, taking the Ric Flair road of retirement. I love to hear it. Aunt Issa and Phil, the original, the band is not the original. The original had G-Rod. Shout out to G-Rod, by the way. Awesome. Love you, dude. Yes, but and the Diva and Diva's been doing some stuff on YouTube and also en Espanol as well, and some live streams there. Whether it's about wrestling or the New York Yankees, she's got a presence. And Aunt, we've put him over so many times. Like, he's the reason we're here. He's one of our major inspirations for podcasting, like mine big time. But yeah, the Round Foundation's back on SummerSlam weekend, and I'm intrigued to hear what they have to say. I've been a friend of his for a couple of years now, so it's always great to hear that voice. Long live the 5-second rule pod. That was just a great part of my Tuesday night late shifts. They made me laugh so hard every time. I hope that Shiny Head and the friend of the show, Brad, and Kyle, the Kyles are doing very. The Kyles, yeah. I'm still going to break out in Random Creed with arms wide open just because I can, and I actually like Creed unironically. Much like I love Sid unironically. Found out about that on my Patreon show this week. Favorite five botches, because I botched the order of my episodes.
I still remember that you actually said, you posted to us, like, oh, this is episode whatever of this Fave 5. And it's like, oops.
Yeah, it was 23, and I couldn't wait to put in the obvious Blink-182 joke. So I'm like, because I botched that, I'm like, okay, I got the next one down pat. Favorite 5 botches. Sorry, Matthew. But by the way, Cultaholic read out my question on last week's.
Oh man, that was cool.
On last week's podcast. It made my night. I heard the intro. Like, I was listening at work. I heard the intro. I perk up. I'm like, that's me. It's like TopeCon morning, lads. TopeCon hello instead of TopeCon heo. That's the joke. It's me standing in front of a brick wall for an hour and a half. How do you sleep at night? On top of a pile of money with many beautiful ladies. I even threw in a Simpsons reference that even Matthew liked. I'm like, okay, this kid's cool because he gets my really obscure ones.
I do remember that, because one of the things that you were asking was some like very standout-ish matches, and it was one of those things where they, after they got done, asking the question, they were just like, "Ooh, this is kind of a tough one." You also got Jack the Jobber to admit something, which, in honesty, Jack the Jobber, shout out to you, but at the same time, you're babyface forever. You're not gonna be a man ever. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to the Adam Blampier, Dean Ambrose voice.
You're referencing some What Culture Pro Wrestling. Yeah, Top 10 Wrestling did a really good retrospective of that. And yeah, my question was about, I was watching, it was for the 20 Bell Salute, that top cage splash by Rikishi on Val. How did Val not explode? Yeah, what are some obscure bumps or moments that kind of get...
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
kind of lost in the shuffle because it took place. It took place in the Attitude Era. I mean, like Triple H took a bump in a car off of a forklift like 4 months after that. I mean, everything happens.
No, Steve Austin. No.
Oh shit! Yeah, obviously Triple H is in the truck or on the mic in the back. Yeah, and then. Oh yeah. Oh, he's dead. He's back 2 weeks later on TV.
He's a man, such a man.
Yeah, he's a bigger, more of a William Regal. If you can come back from that. Yeah. Sorry,
come on, we can't be that mean to Steven Regal, the legend of the WWF. I mean, the true icon of what made the Attitude Era so manly.
Oh yes, the commissioner with the cup of pee. Yeah, the cup of tea. Yeah. or the I just don't want him to get so mad at us that he just shouts "War Games."
Oh God, we get in a War Games match with anybody. If they was to be like, War Games, your first opponent, Walter. Nope, done. I forfeit. It's like, I don't want my chest caved in. Thank you very much.
I'll be like, okay, just give me one. Here's my chest. Just give me one.
Bam.
Dead. Heart stops beating.
That's one way to go. I made a joke earlier today that said, like, one of my happiest ways to just go out of this world is literally lying in bed with a smile on my face and a piece of pizza in my hand, just because I love pizza. So it has to be somebody else's dream. Like my life is just about to be over. But one thing I need to do before I die, I need to take a chop from Walter. Then I can say my life is complete.
It's like me. Come here, Walter. Up on bed. Come here, Walter. It's time. I ride over the pearly gates with a pelt on my chest. Oh wait, the Bible says we'll have new bodies. Ha ha! I won't have the battle scars. Okay, I'll take it.
Reminds me of the Ruthless Aggression pod where they're talking about Vince's deathbed, where he's like, Triple H, come closer. Why is he talking like this? I don't know. I still don't understand Bo Dallas's gimmick.
Yes.
Oh, jeez, where have Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel? Oh, no, wait, one of them's already been released, if not both of them. That's right, I forgot about that. I was about to say, where the hell have these guys been? Because B team, go, man. Apparently they are going to the unemployment line, which is sad because I love Curtis Axel. Bo Dallas, meh. I think if he would have done like a resurrection with the Wyatt family, he probably could have done so much more.
Yeah, Curtis Axel is still under contract.
Yes.
I just Googled that. And I'm about to Google Bo Dallas. He is also currently signed. They are both currently on SmackDown. The B team is on SmackDown. I guess they've gone to the Cologne school of tag team wrestling, which is catering.
You better believe that we're going to be eating shrimp all day. Oh my gosh. I know. I'm a nerd. But what are you going to do? So, another great thing that's going to be coming up for this month, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the first episode of the Ultimate Wrestling Challenge game show hosted by yours truly. And the first contestant on there will be Jermaine, one of our loyal Patreon members, and he and I have already set up a date for the recording. He is definitely going to be the episode will be released before August is over. It may even be released SummerSlam weekend. You just never know. But it's going to be an absolutely fantastic time for those that want to be a part of that. Go be a part of our Patreon. All you have to do is donate $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 measly dollars. And guys, you could definitely be on the Ultimate Wrestling Challenge Trivia Game Show, in which you can win fabulous prizes. It is absolutely great. Definitely check out the first episode that will definitely be coming out sooner rather than later. Well, okay, it will come out a little bit later because we have to get the right time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But also this month, it is a very special time because it is August. It is the biggest party of the summer. And Mr. Fretz, you did mention the fact that it is also a very, very special time this time of year.
SummerSlam, baby, yep. And we have a review of SummerSlam 2000 coming up in the 20 Bell Salute, along with some movies and one of my favorite video games of all time, and that's all I can say. It's on the N64. Lip is zipped. And I can't wait to talk about it because I might go start playing it if I can dig it out.
Dude, if it's anything but Pokemon Snap, I will literally disown you as a friend. I'm just saying that right now.
It is not Pokemon Snap.
You
it is not a Pokemon game.
You damn. Oh, you blasphemous. whatever.
And Pokemon Snap was already out at this point in time. I'll tell you what it is off air.
I know. No, I want to build in the suspense. I want to wait until next week. So don't spoil this for me. Don't spoil it like some people spoiled Endgame. Okay, I admit I was one of those people. But shut up! It was a damn good movie. I watched it 5 times in theaters.
I watched it once in theaters. And on that same day, I bought my PS4.
Well, that's pretty awesome. That's actually a better day than I probably had. So
with Spider-Man.
Oh, that's such an awesome game. That's going to be something we're going to be talking about on the show. Honestly, let's talk about that right now. How awesome this game was compared to like the Xbox versions and the previous versions. This one is just absolutely phenomenal. And now for PS5, they are going to be releasing another Spider-Man game with Miles Morales. Holy shit! I'm looking forward to this game.
I'm not getting the PS5 yet. I just got the 4 this last year, with God of War, Spider-Man, and I download because Fire Pro Wrestling was on sale. By the way, any wrestling fan who's listening to this who has a PS4 and you don't have Fire Pro, get on. Just download the deluxe version with all the DLC. It's really expensive, but you get everything. There's like an entrance craft, a move craft. You get all like the NGPW stars. You get like a special version of Jushin Liger. And then, of course, if there is like a website you can just download everything on, and then it just fires up to that. And if you have a really good PC, you can download a whole whack of amazing mods on Steam that I'm pissed you can't get on PS4. Yes, but the Spider-Man game. I mean, there's an Avengers game coming out too, and like once I saw Avengers Tower in Spider-Man, like PS4 Spider-Man, I knew that something was up. And now you can get the beta, but you know I'm knee deep in Paper Mario: The Origami King and Animal Crossing at the moment, so I'm not going to get anything until I complete Tony Hawk next month, which I can't wait for.
You and Kate Murphy are like the cutest couple for Animal Crossing because that's all you two mainly talk about on one of our chats on there.
A little bit more of the Kate. I actually found a way to make our Wrestle Addict Radio logos like crafts on. Because I built a wrestling ring. I have like a wrestling ring like yard somewhere on my island, and I have like this stone arch that's supposed to be kind of like the entrance to Raw with a ramp coming below it, and there is like a few social distance chairs, a barbed wire fence around the ring, with the announce table and all of our logos from like yours, mine, Mance's, Kings of the Rings, Kate's, Wrestle Addict Radio, and a podcasting room in my house. And I've never played an Animal Crossing game until this one, just because quarantine, everyone was playing it, and I'm like, at the time I thought I might have been, temporarily out of work, but, groceries be essential. I've been going nonstop since March. I'm exhausted. But I got this game in case I had some time on my hands, and fortunately, my 5-year-old nephew adores this game, so he wants to come over with me next week, so he might be here for a few Sundays, so we'll have to see about SummerSlam.
I mean, priorities, man. You got nephew versus biggest party of the summer, family versus wrestling, your own flesh and blood versus something that you're very passionate about. Yeah, I know where the priorities lie. I'm just making this a little bit more tougher.
Oh, I know, yeah. I am watching, regardless, I'm watching SummerSlam, whether it's live or not. If I'm watching live, maybe I'll live tweet, like I've been live tweeting Raw, but that's a discussion for another day. But if I have to say another thing about Spider-Man, I hate the Doc Ock science parts, where you have to match up this DNA shit. It reminds me of the ring battle system in the current Paper Mario game. If you know what I mean, folks, we're just shooting shit here about games. Yeah, this is now the Fretz and Nate video game review section of the show.
Yeah. Video games.
And with Pikmin 3 being announced for the Switch, I never played Pikmin, so that doesn't really affect me.
The closest I've come to Pikmin is Super Smash Brothers.
I want Breath of the Wild 2, and I want the Mario HD collection. Like, come on, just give me Mario Sunshine and 64 on the Switch. Just do it.
Just give it to us. Give it to us. Give me what I want.
Okay, there, Batista. Okay, Drax. Leviathan, whatever you want to call him.
It's Blue Tista. Get it right, nerd.
Oh, that's right.
So, guys, next week we will be doing a retro review on SummerSlam 2000 because of the fact that it is our version of the 20 Bell Salute, because we are going to be covering 20-year anniversary of the first ever official TLC match. Oh my. It's going to be absolutely crazy. It's going to be absolutely wild, guys. We maybe have to cover a couple more TLC matches. I don't know. Possibly. Because, honestly, I think it would be kind of cool for us to cover Unforgiven... Oh, God, what was it? 2006. Edge versus Cena. I think that'd be a really good one. Because it's Edge versus Cena. Those guys have awesome chemistry. And the fact is, that TLC match was awesome. And that facial reaction John Cena had at the end was amazing. Just because he's like... I don't want to do this. he's just like, I didn't want to do this. Even though Edge was like, no, it's fine, it's cool, man. Cena's just like, I don't want to do this. So.
And it took place in Toronto.
It is a Toronto pay-per-view, so maybe we're going to have to do a deal where it's like every now and then we'll do like a Toronto pay-per-view, because we have so many American pay-per-views as is. Let's talk about the speciality that Canadian pay-per-views, other pay-per-views. I mean, hell, we talked about 1992 SummerSlam last week, which was in Wembley Stadium, and that was an awesome show.
That was fun. Yeah, there's a slew of great Canada shows, and I got to give love here to who were they? They were the Invasion Era podcast. It was a short-lived podcast that only covered like King of the Ring 2001 until Survivor Series 2001. One of them was a Canadian guy from Vancouver, and he was always vying for, like, there was a Monday Night Raw in Vancouver once in like 2003, and it was actually okay. They haven't been back since. Vancouver needs some pay-per-views. They need some love, but yeah, some Canadian ones I'm down for, especially a Toronto show. If it's WrestleMania 6, if it's Unforgiven 06, like, you know, John Cena, Edge getting a win in John Cena's hometown, and then John Cena gets one in
Edge's hometown,
my hometown, in Edge's hometown. And yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm a sucker for Toronto pay-per-views. No, NXT. Sorry, NXT.
Ooh, NXT TakeOver Toronto. Yeah, I mean, you would already have me hooked on just because of freaking Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode, where Bobby Roode has a choir singing his theme song. Yes, please, I will watch that. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for listening into the Game Changer podcast. As I mentioned before, he's been Fretz, I've been NateFNGreat. You can check us out on our amazing Twitter handles at the legendary JF, at RealFNGame. You can also check us out on our Instagrams. Usually I don't put too many pictures up, but I think that by this weekend there's going to be a couple of pictures a lot of people will enjoy, mainly because I'll be going to an ACW show, doing solo commentary this time around, which will be an interesting deal because I've never done that. I've always had somebody kind of by my side doing this, so a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, I told them I'm bringing them my 110%. Let's just hope that it goes well. So we have that going on. Definitely check out at Addict_Wrestle. Why? Because that's the Wrestle Addict Radio official Twitter handle, where you can check out all things Game Changer podcast related, Kings of the Rings, Young Lions Perspective, as well as the Delight Show and Fretzelmania. So many great things that are going on there. So many awesome things that are just continuing to keep on rolling. Oh my gosh, teesprings.com, you guys. We have Wrestle Addict Radio merch that's still going on like crazy, from cups to t-shirts to hats, you name it, we got them all set up. And hell, we got masks even, and they're going to be going to a really good cause, you guys. So definitely check that out. Stay safe, be smart, and definitely know that you can make a difference. And oh my gosh, I got to mention this because this was something I was supposed to announce last week, but I totally spaced out on that. So starting in January, this big announcement, you guys, Mr. Fretz and I will be collaborating on a special fantasy booking of what we think should have happened for the Invasion storyline angle, from WrestleMania X7 all the way to WrestleMania 18. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic deal. And guys, it's so big, we can't contain it in 1 month. So once a month, you are going to be hearing us do a fantasy book from, like we said, WrestleMania 17 to 18, covering the Invasion, our way of booking it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. That is going to start in January 2021. Do not miss out on that. Mr. Fretz, any final words before we say our goodbyes?
No. Fretz's Fave 5 I try to get it every Sunday or Monday, just depends on my work week, out on the Patreon. The 20 Bell Salute will be recorded soon. I have to finish watching SummerSlam. I'm at Steve Blackman versus Shane McMahon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm at that one. And there's some great stuff coming out. You're going to get a mini 20 Bell here. You're just going to hear about what I'm going to cover. And I will in-depth them on that show. Next week, as I said, give shout out to the usual crowd. Our friends at the Ruthless Aggression Pod are currently on hiatus. So, lads, I hope you're doing well. Big love to the Rant for returning. Those wrestling girls. And, Cultaholic for reading my question. Made my night.
Definitely.
Tom Campbell's the man.
Tom Campbell, you the man. If he can't do it, James Storm sure can. Just remember, guys, that when things get tough, you just drink a beer. And just remember, all you have to say is, sorry about your damn luck.
Damn luck.
See you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.
Cheers.
This has been a Wrestle Addict Radio branded podcast.